Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bexar County Court at Law Number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Plea and motion to revoke probation docket. Today is Thursday, the 27th of May, 2021. It's approximately 2:05 p.m. First case we have today is cause number 562184, State of Texas versus Kevin Garcia, represented by Mr. Johnny Cisneros. This is a fifth amended motion to revoke community supervision. Mr. Cisneros, my understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And representing the state is going to be Miss Alexis O'Connor. Representing the Bexar County CSCD is Miss Susan Gross, who I will swear at this time. Miss Gross, please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. First document I need you to identify your signature on, Mr. Garcia, is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearings by Video Conference. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
It's the one that I just got sent right now, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Cisneros, as attorney for Mr. Garcia, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
The next document we're looking at, Mr. Garcia, is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying convictions. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Cisneros, is this also your signature as attorney for Mr. Garcia?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, Mr. Garcia, in cause 562184 to the fifth amended motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
True. Say true.
All right.
True.
Please advise support of the party status of Garcia's probation.
Yes, sir. Mr. Garcia has performed very poorly on probation in that he has only reported one time. We've not seen him since July the 11th of 2019. We have no record of any of his 48 hours of community service having been completed. We have no proof of enrollment or completion of the DWI education, victim impact panel, or CAT-SNP programs being enrolled in or completed. He submitted one drug test, which was diluted. He has paid $162 towards his fees. He has a balance of $1,477. The case is expired. He has 27 skip tests on the Smart Start mobile device. He went into lockout on August 23rd of 2019, and Smart Start actually wrote off the device on December 31st of 2019. This is his first violation report, first MTR. As for criminal history, he has a prior arrest for possession of marijuana. This case, and there is a sexual assault of a child that is still in night mag status at this time. The probation department is recommending that his probation be revoked.
And Ms. Gross, do you have in your records the original fine amount that Mr. Garcia was assessed when he entered a plea to this case back in 2019, I guess?
Yes, Your Honor. The original fine amount was $600.
Okay, Mr. Cisneros?
Your Honor, I don't know Mr. Garcia that well, but I've met his mother several times based on this new allegations that came out, this new charge. And my conversations with her, and I've met with her about 4 or 5 times, that he really is a good young man. He had possession of marijuana and that one time, and then this time he hasn't performed that well. But I have a very, very strong feelings, Your Honor. And I've been doing this for many, many years, and I can analyze people when they're telling me the truth and when they're not. I think that if we just go ahead and terminate his probation on SAT, then we'll deal with a felony case. And then that one way or another is going to affect his assuming he's found guilty, which I don't believe that's going to happen. I think we have a very strong defense on this case because I interviewed the alleged victim on the case. And I got some good vibes. I got some good answers on what was happening or what did not. Well, I'll just say it like this. I got some good vibes on this case. So I think that if we just terminate him on stat, and then we'll see what happens on the felony. And then I will have some very, very strong, manly and fatherly-like conversations with him about how he needs to follow instructions, especially from a court. And then if he learns, then you'll never see him again in the system. And if he doesn't learn, then he's going to be in the penitentiary at one point or another in his life, sir. And I really, in my few minutes that I had with him a little while ago, I think we're going to be okay with him in the future.
Okay, Mr. Sheriff, I'm not going to consider any testimony or evidence about any alleged new crime. We'll let some other court and you work that out at some future point. That has no real bearing here with us.
That's correct.
Does Mr. Garcia have a reason why he stopped reporting apparently years ago?
In all honesty, Judge, I don't care what any of my clients tell me. I don't think Mr. Garcia would have a good answer as to why he didn't report, other than maybe he was being lazy and didn't have someone to talk to him and tell him how serious this is. But I can guarantee you, Your Honor, that should he be given a second chance by Your Honor, then I will have some very, very strong conversations with him about how the system works and how and why we expect certain conditions to be met, conditions that are set by the judge or by just society in general, that we have to follow the law, follow the rules.
Okay, state recommendation.
Revocation, Judge.
And I'm asking that the court terminate him on stat, Your Honor, please.
Mr. Garcia, and cause 562-184. The court accepts your plea of true to the Fifth Amended motion to revoke community supervision with an explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, assess a $600 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. If this new case does come along and he has time on that, obviously this time will also run concurrent with that one, if that gets resolved.
That's correct.
Anything further?
Pat, can you tell me how many days he has in, please?
He has
21.
22 days.
Oh, 22.
22 days. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cisneros. Good luck, Mr. Garcia.
Your Honor, may I come back to you in about 20, 30 days and see if you can reconsider for a shorter sentence?
You can always come back and chat with me, but you know me very well. Circumstances. If there's any mitigation that causes me to change my mind, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you so much. Thank you. May I speak to my client, please?
Yeah, can you go to
I'll put you all back, go back into one. You should be able to join breakout room 1.
Thank you,
Wait,
Pat.
before you go, I have a question. Mr. Garcia, do you still have your Smart Start device?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to be able to say a few words, and like the reason why I didn't turn myself in was because I was taking care of my daughter, and there's no other like person to help me with her. I understand like alleged charges that are happening, but I'm trying to prove my innocence on that, and I will. And that was the main reason, honestly. I still have the device as well. I was willing to pay all my charges as well.
Yeah.
Judge, can I create a Smart Start removal order so he can turn that in once he gets out of jail?
Of course.
All right. Once you get out of jail, Mr. Garcia, then you need to go and turn that device in, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And for all the other classes and all that, I could still do, right? Or
No.
Or that
No.
will be. Okay.
You don't have to do any of that. You've been sentenced to jail for 6 months, so your probation is over.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I
All right.
appreciate you.
Okay, go ahead and go into your breakout room number 1 with your attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck.
Thank you. Am I supposed to get a?
I'm gonna see if I can get you in there.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to find you. You should be able to go back in. There should be something for you to go back in. Mr. Cisneros is already there.
Let me speak to the bailiff.
Okay, I'll send you, what, I'm gonna do two things. Do that, then I'm gonna do one more thing, and then we'll get you in there. Hold on.
Okay.
If you take your mouse all the way to the bottom, a little window will pop up saying, move to a room, and you click on that for number 1.
Okay.
There you
Yes,
go.
ma'am.
It should
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty.
Okay, have we heard from Mr. Hitchings regarding Miss Taylor?
Your Honor, I told him to show up about 2:30, giving him, just in case she shows up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a series of pleas, starting with State of Texas versus Roldan Serna, cause 646586, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree. State of Texas versus Howard Williams, cause 619513, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree. State of Texas versus Christopher Ikondo, cause number 628493, represented by Mr. Roundtree. And State of Texas versus Don Lopez, cause 633737, represented by Tim Roundtree. This is like Tim Roundtree week. Okay, we also have State of Texas versus Sebastian De La Cruz, cause 651711, represented by Mr. Joel Perez. We have State of Texas versus Julian Sendejas, cause number 654482, represented by Mr. Robert Gaona. We have State of Texas versus Myra Gonzalez, cause 656968, represented by Mr. Ruben Flores. We have State of Texas versus Carlos Cortez, cause 649948, represented by Mr. Richard Garcia. We have State of Texas versus Christopher Bowie, cause 652949 and 652950, represented by Mr. Robert Maurer. We have State of Texas versus Joaquin Fernandez, cause number 645033, 645032, and 645034, represented by Mr. Thomas Beck. We have State of Texas versus El Fego Hernandez, cause number 649903, represented by Mr. Thomas Limon. And we have State of Texas versus Benjamin Henry, cause number 634601 and 634602, represented by Mr. John Perez. And we have State of Texas versus Ronald Richardson, cause 645612, represented by Mr. Roberto Garcia. And that's what we got in the way of pleas. We're going to start off with State of Texas versus Roldan Serna Jr., State of Texas versus Howard Williams, State of Texas versus Christopher Ikondo, State of Texas versus Don Marie Lopez, State of Texas versus Sebastian De La Cruz, and State of Texas versus Julian Sendejas. Mr. Roundtree, are you ready on these 1, 2, 3, 4 cases?
I am.
And Mr. Perez, are you ready on Mr. De La Cruz?
We're ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Gallon, are you ready on Mr. Sendejas?
Ready, Judge.
Okay. Once again, 646586, State of Texas versus Roldan Serna Jr., represented by Tim Roundtree, 619513. State of Texas versus Howard Williams, represented by Tim Roundtree, 628493. State of Texas versus Christopher Ikondo, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree, and 633737. State of Texas versus Don Marie Lopez, represented by Mr. Tim Roundtree, 651711. State of Texas versus Sebastian De La Cruz, represented by Mr. Joel Perez. And last in this batch, 654482. State of Texas versus Julian Sendejas, represented by Mr. Robert Gaona. Gentlemen, I'm looking at a document on each of your files entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, which purports to have your signature on it. Mr. Serna, did you sign this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Serna, is this your signature on this document, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, did you sign this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Roundtree, did you also sign this document for Mr. Williams?
I did.
And Mr. Ikondo, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Roundtree, on this document, sir?
I did sign that one, Judge.
And Ms. Lopez, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, I did.
And Mr. Roundtree, is also your signature on this document?
That is my signature, Judge, although you're kind of cutting out a little bit. It's a bit hard to hear you.
Okay. Let me go here towards my mic. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. De La Cruz, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Perez, as attorney for Mr. De La Cruz, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Sendejas, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Galeana, as attorney for Mr. Sendejas, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next document I'm looking at is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Right to Course Admonition, report off the back, waiving certain constitutional rights this way in order to enter a plea before the court.
You're breaking up, Your Honor.
What to do about it? Now.
Better.
Okay, and Mr. Williams, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kondo, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lopez, excuse me, Miss Lopez, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And Mr. De La Cruz, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that. I had it on.
Is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Sendejas, is this your signature on this document?
You're breaking up, Your Honor.
I don't know what to tell you.
I know. People, mute. Turn off your audio until you have been asked a question, because this is what's happened. There's too many people on, please. Okay.
By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Mr. Serna?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
You, is that correct, Mr. Acondo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Lopez?
That is correct.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. De La Cruz?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Sendejas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Roundtree, as attorney for Mr. Serna, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Williams, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, he is.
Question for attorney for Mr. Acondo, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, he is.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Lopez, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, she is as well.
Same question for attorney for Mr. De La Cruz.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Sendejas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Serna, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Same question for Mr. Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Question for Mr. Acondo.
Yes, sir.
Question for Ms. Lopez.
Yes, sir.
Same question for Mr. De La Cruz.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Sendejas.
Yes, Your Honor.
As attorney for Mr. Serna, Mr. Roundtree, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have, Judge.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Williams, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, they have, Judge.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Acondo, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, Judge.
Same question for attorney for Ms. Lopez, Mr. Roundtree.
Yes, for Ms. Lopez, they have complied.
Same question for attorney for Mr. De La Cruz, Mr. Perez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Sendejas, Mr. Galeana.
Yes, Judge.
And stand by. State, have you got a motion on Mr. Serna's case, 646-586?
Yes, Judge, the state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, and proceed on count 2.
No objection.
Okay, cause 646-586, State of Texas versus Roldan Serna Jr. State moving to amend the information, adding paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of a highway. No objection from the defense is granted. Then state moving to waive count 1 in the enhancement. No objection from the defense is granted. So, Mr. Serna, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
And is there an agreement with Mr. Serna?
12 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CATSNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Serna, clause 646-586, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program outpatient drug course, and Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for 1/2 the term to 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Serna?
Nothing further from the state.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Serna. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree.
Your Honor, if I may real quick, will Mr. Serna talk to probation today, or what should he do?
Question. Is Susan still with us?
Susan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am still here. Everything is still pretty much the same, Mr. Roundtree. They will be contacted by the probation department within 48 hours. It will be either via email, telephone, or text. It is your responsibility to respond to whatever correspondence so that you can get that paperwork signed. If you do not hear from the probation department within 48 hours, which would be like close of business on, well, Monday's a holiday, so close of business on Tuesday. So if you haven't heard from anyone, first thing next Wednesday morning, for any of you that are granted probation today, if you have not heard from the department, you're going to need to call this telephone number. So everybody grab a pencil. That telephone number is going to be 210-335-7446. That is directly to the intake desk. You call them, you explain to them that you were placed on probation Thursday, May 27th, and you still need to sign your conditions. It is your responsibility, if you've not heard from them, to call them, because if you haven't heard from them, that probably means that you gave them bad information or they can't find you. You will need to get in touch with them to set up a time to sign your conditions of probation, okay? Otherwise, you can always contact your attorney, who will contact the court, and we can go from there. Does anyone have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to everybody placed on probation today.
Back on the record on cause 619-513, State of Texas versus Howard Williams. State, do you have a motion on this case?
Yes, Judge, the state moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Mr. Williams, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir? I think your paperwork says guilty. Is that correct, Mr. Roundtree? Your microphone is turned off, Tim.
Judge, I think Mr. Williams is frozen up there. His screen hasn't. He's a cool character, but he can't sit that still that long.
Houston, we have a problem. Pat, have you got a remedy for this one?
No.
Judge, if we could move on, maybe Mr. Williams could log off and log back on and see if that would help.
Let's try that. You might call him on a cell phone and see if you can combo with him that way. Okay. Mr. Roundtree, you want a minute to do that? Because I'm getting ready to take up a plea that you're the attorney on again.
Wait a minute. I just hit him to unmute. There you go. He's there. Mr. Williams there.
All right, I can hear you now, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams,
Sorry
welcome. Hey, the charge, Mr. Williams, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Okay. You're in agreement for Mr. Williams.
16 months deferred adjudication, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probated, DWI intervention, DIP, CAT snip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Make sure I get this right. Mr. Williams, clause 619513, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months, deferred adjudication probation, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service probating all that. WI intervention course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, new intervention program, outpatient drug course, and Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for 8 months, which is 1/2 the term of 16 months deferred adjudication. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Williams?
And not from the defense.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Williams. Condo, clause 628493. Let's see, I think state you have motions on this one too, do you not?
Yes, Judge. The state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, and proceed on count 2.
No objection.
State's motion to amend the information, adding paragraph 2 alleging obstruction of a highway, no objection from the defense is granted. The state's motion to waive paragraph 1 and the enhancement, no objection from the defense is granted. Number 4, Mr. Condo, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
You're breaking up, Judge. I didn't hear you.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Condo?
12 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $60 to DPS, DWI education, DIP, CAT snip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Condo, clause 628493, the court accepts the plea of guilty of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Based on 1 year deferred adjudication probation, $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, $60 restitution fee to the Texas Department of Public Safety, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, new intervention program, and Smart Start Mobile for 6 months at 4 blows a day, which is 1/2 the term. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Condo?
Nothing further from the state.
Judge, I have a few things. Mr. Akondo's active duty.
Okay.
And so I would ask that you would probate his community service since he's already serving our great country.
No problem.
Additionally, he currently is, I believe, stationed in California. Additionally, he's out of state, Judge.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ken. I'm keep interrupting. Go ahead.
That's okay. He's stationed out of state. Chris, where are you currently?
I'm actually in Corpus Christi, but I'm leaving to California soon.
You're being transferred from state to Corpus currently. You're being transferred to California.
You're breaking up, Judge.
Is he active duty military right now, Tim? Yes. Your microphone's off again, Tim.
Chris, you are active duty military right now, correct?
That is correct.
And you are being transferred to California?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What service are you in, Chris?
I couldn't hear you, sir.
What branch of service are you in, Chris?
Navy Air Force.
I'm in the Navy.
I can't punish him any further or worse, but he's already punished himself. He's in the Navy.
Your Honor, you're really breaking up and everybody's muted that needs to be silent. Don't know what else we can do.
What else I can do? Y'all hear me now?
Maybe judge needs to sign off and sign back on.
Yeah, maybe you better try that, Judge, because everybody's muted that's supposed to be muted.
Howard, if you can hear me, you can log off. You're finished.
All right, yes, sir.
It may be his computer because it shouldn't take him this long to. Okay. All right. Okay.
Now.
Much better.
Better? Okay. Mr. Acondo, sorry. How soon are you being transferred to Florida? I'm sorry, California.
I'm taking off in August.
Okay. Susan, can we transfer these probations to California, or do we have to let him answer from you?
What was the length of sentence, Judge?
1 year.
I believe so. Let me double check. It'll take me just one moment. Judge, I have just been instructed by the manager of the unit that transfers cases, and they will not accept a DWI 1.5 or higher.
Answer by mail. This is obstruction. It's not a DWI. Anyway, if it can be supervised, great, do that. If not, just let him answer by mail, no problem. Susan, what else do we need to do? Is that it?
Same instructions as given before. If you haven't heard from the probation department within 48 hours, then you need to call that number that I gave you, 210-335-7446. Any questions, Mr. Recondo?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Okay, thanks for your service, sir. You're dismissed. Mr. Roundtree, you need to hang on for a second. One more second.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next case we have is called 633-737. State of Texas versus Don Marie Lopez. And state you have a motion on this case or two.
Correct, Judge. The state moves to add account 2 of obstruction waive count 1 and proceed on count 2.
No objection.
Okay, state's motion to amend the information on the highway. No objection from the defense is granted. Then states motion to waive count 1 and proceed on count 2. No objection from the defense is also granted. Therefore, Ms. Lopez, to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, ma'am?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And
12 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CAT SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term. And Judge, when I originally filled out the obstruction paperwork, it has just straight probation on there. We need to correct it to deferred.
all right, so that needs to be administratively changed. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct, Judge. We agree. Defense agrees, Judge.
And Mr. Roundtree, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Judge, not getting any of that. You're fading out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Hot copy over.
Still distorted, Judge.
No good yet. You want me to sign back out and sign back in?
Okay, right there. Don't move your head. You sound wonderful. Moved your head.
I'm going to start over. The court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 1 year, deferred adjudication probation. Assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program outpatient drug, and Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day, home interlock for 1/2 the term, or in this case, 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Lopez?
Nothing further from the state.
Your Honor, Ms. Lopez, I'm going from memory here, but she works with a flight readiness crew, and she goes to different bases. And the places that she goes into, she's not going to be permitted to take the mobile device. So she already has a interlock installed in her vehicle because we had to get the occupational license a while back. Will the court consider allowing her just to continue with the interlock?
Active duty military?
She is not. She's a civilian employee, but she's in the physical, Dawn, you help me, in the physical therapy kind of part of the flight readiness. Is that right?
Yes, I work with the 149th at Lackland Air Force Base. I'm part of their OHWS program, their lead technician and lead therapist. So I'm in a vault half the day, and I'm not allowed to access anything that has a battery.
Well, you only have to blow it 4 times a day. You got a window to blow into it. Walk inside, blow in it within 2 hours, and walk back in.
Judge is asking if you're allowed to leave and go outside and blow into it and then come back in.
Not when we're in debrief.
What is debrief?
When my pilots land, that's when we go into the vault. We haven't debrief. Our debrief can take up to 4 hours.
Every day up there, how often do you have to do this?
It's every single day.
Your Honor,
Can you repeat that?
Keep her on ignition interlock instead of Smart Start Mobile. That work for you guys?
Yes, thank you. Dawn, Judge said he's going to keep you on the interlock that you have.
On it right now. She's not on a Smart Start Mobile.
Correct. It's the interlock.
There may be an order out there ordering her to get Smart Start. Just ignore it, and I'll fix it from my end. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. We good on her?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Good luck, Ms. Lopez. And
Judge,
that's the last one I got for you.
Judge, if I may, on that paperwork, just make sure it explicitly states that it's okay for her to be on ignition interlock.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Miss O'Connor. Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. De La Cruz, it costs 651-711.
Judge,
Yes,
I
Your
have-
Honor. Your orders.
Judge, on this one, last minute, we have a motion. The state moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection, Judge.
Okay, state motion to waive the DWI second enhancement and proceed on DWI first. No objection from the defense is granted. Therefore, Mr. De La Cruz, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And is there an agreement for Mr. De La Cruz?
6/12, $500 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI intervention, DIP, CAD SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Perez, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. De La Cruz, the court accepts your plea.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Guilty of the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. A $500 fine plus court cost, 36 hours community service, DWI intervention course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, outpatient drug program, and Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. De La Cruz?
Nothing.
Oh, you're not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck, Mr. De La Cruz. Thank you. Well,
Yes, Judge. Good to talk to you.
Your Honor.
okay. Mr.
Your Honor, before you start, Robert Maurer and his client, Christopher Bow, is not going to do it today. He asked if we could either do it tomorrow or another day. His secretary did not put it on the schedule. He wasn't aware. So he says.
We're going to be here for another hour. He's got plenty of time to get it figured out. Tell him we'll be here in an hour. See if he can do that.
And
Otherwise,
Your,
we'll
Okay.
come back when we're finished. Okay.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. It's Joel Pettis. Are my client and myself excused, Your Honor?
Absolutely. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you, Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir. Okay. Call 654-482, State of Texas versus Julian Sendejas. And let me look at and see what we got going on this one. To the charge of, thank you. Got a motion on this one too. I apologize.
Yes, Judge, the state moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. You're waiving the greater than 1.5 enhancement, correct?
Correct, Judge.
Motion to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement of offense granted. Therefore, Mr. Sendejas is in charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Sendejas?
16 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, $60 to DPS, DWI education, DIP, CAD SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Mr. Sendejas, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation. It's just a $500 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, $60 restitution fee to the Texas Department of Public Safety, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for 1/2 the term or 8 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Sendejas?
Nothing further from the state.
Nothing further from the defense, Judge.
All right, Mr. Sendejas, thank you, Mr. Gayona. Y'all are excused.
Thank you.
All right, give me a couple minutes to get set up on our next batch of folks. Okay, at this point, we're going to take up cause 656-968, State of Texas versus Myra Gonzalez, represented by Mr. Ruben Flores. Mr. Flores, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Judge.
649-948, State of Texas versus Carlos M. Cortez, represented by Richard Garcia. Mr. Garcia, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, ready.
And cause 645-612, State of Texas versus Ronald J. Richardson II, represented by Mr. Ruperto Garcia. Mr. Garcia, are you ready to go forward on Mr. Richardson, please? Ruperto Garcia, can you hear me? You're
Sorry, Your Honor, I was muted. I have a couple of questions. My client just called and they were talking about different documents that I have in hand. So if we can delay that for a second, Your Honor.
Sure, we'll take you up here in a minute. I'll put you off to the side.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, this is Joel Perez again. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but I forgot to ask something on the Sebastian de la Cruz, Your Honor. He lives in Webb County in Laredo. Can you order that the case be transferred to Webb County, Your Honor?
Yep, can do.
Okay, sorry about that, Your Honor. I apologize.
Get down here. Okay, so that one's off to the side. And Mr. Maurer is not here. Is that correct, Pat? He's not ready yet.
Your Honor, I told him what you said about us being here for an hour and told him that you wanted him to come in. He says, okay, so I assume they'll come in later.
Okay. Next I've got is, did I get a message from you on Mr. Beck's case, Mr. Fernandez earlier? Are they available?
We're available.
All right, all good. It's called 645-033, 645-032, and 645-034, State of Texas versus Joaquin Fernandez, represented by Mr. Thomas Beck. And Mr. Beck, are you ready to go forward at this time?
I'm ready, Judge.
Thank you. And last but not least, I have cause 634-601 and 634-602, State of Texas versus Benjamin K. Henry, represented by Mr. John Perez. Mr. Perez, are you all ready to proceed? Is John with us today?
Yes, Judge. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. Are you ready to proceed, John? All good?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. So,
Joaquin needs to unmute. Joaquin Fernandez needs to unmute.
okay, I apologize. I missed that. Something about Mr. Fernandez?
He's ready, Your Honor. He's here.
All right, great.
I'm ready, sir.
At this time, I'm going to ask everybody to identify their signature on a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Ms. Gonzalez, in cause 656-968, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, as attorney for Ms. Gonzalez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
Thank you. 649-948, State of Texas versus Carlos Cortez. Mr. Cortez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Cortez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
In cause 645-033, Mr. Fernandez, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. And Mr. Beck, as attorney for Mr. Fernandez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Henry, in cause 634-601 and 634-602, I have two documents for you. Is this your signature on each?
Yes, sir, it is, Your Honor.
Mr. Perez is attorney for Mr. Henry. I'm assuming this is your signature as his attorney on each of these documents also. Would that be correct?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. The next document I have for each of you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Ms. Gonzalez, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
It is.
And Mr. Cortez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Fernandez, is this your signature on this document under cause number 645033?
Yes, sir, it is.
And Mr. Henry, I have two documents for you, one in 634601 and one in 634602. Are these your signatures on each of these documents for each of these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing these documents, for each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety. If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on these documents. Is that correct, Ms. Gonzalez?
It is.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Cortez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And is that correct, Mr. Henry, on both these cases?
Yes, sir.
As attorney for Ms. Gonzalez, have you had enough time to go over this case with her? And in your opinion, is she mentally competent? Mr. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Cortez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Beck, as attorney for Mr. Fernandez.
No question.
And same question for Mr. Perez, as attorney for Mr. Henry in both cases.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And Ms. Gonzalez, are you a United States citizen, ma'am?
Yes.
Same question for Mr. Cortez.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Fernandez, excuse me.
Yes, sir. I'm an American citizen.
And same question for Mr. Henry in both cases.
Yes, Judge.
Defense counsel for Ms. Gonzalez, Mr. Flores, does the state fully comply with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Cortez, Mr. Garcia.
I believe they have. Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Beck as attorney for Mr. Fernandez.
They have complied, Your Honor.
Thank you. And same question for Mr. Perez as attorney for Mr. Henry in both cases.
They have, Judge.
Okay, in Ms. Gonzalez case, state, you've got a motion. Go ahead.
Yes, Judge. The state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, and proceed on count 2.
No objections, Your Honor.
Take the motion, alter amend the information adding paragraph 2, alleging obstruction of a highway. No objection from the defense is granted. Then the state moving to waive paragraph 1 and proceed on paragraph 2. No objection from the defense is granted. Ms. Gonzalez, in cause 656968 to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, ma'am? And your paperwork says no contest. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. Court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway for Ms. Gonzalez. And is there an agreement?
12 months deferred adjudication, an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CAD SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Ms. Gonzalez, in cause 68, the court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of a highway. So I have enough evidence to find you guilty. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. Assess an $850 fine plus court cost. 48 hours community service. DWI education course. DWI victim impact panel. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program outpatient drug. And Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day for half the time, which is 6 months. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Gonzalez?
Judge, if I may, I was wondering if you could allow her to buy out some community service hours with a donation to a cause of of your liking?
What we do is we allow them to donate $10 per hour of community service to specific court charities or maybe a charity of their own that we approve, at which point we will probate their community service hours. That certainly is something we can do.
Their probation officer will give them a list upon their report.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Y'all are dismissed. Thank you. Good luck, Ms. Gonzalez. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Mr. Cortez, to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. How do you plead, sir?
I think we agreed to no content.
Okay with me, if it's okay with the state.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Is there an agreement for
12 months deferred adjudication, $400 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, an APSE course, a gun safety course, and a motion to forfeit the weapon.
what kind of weapon is this?
I'm not sure, Judge.
That's what make it and type of weapons. I assume it's a handgun, right?
Yes, Judge.
What make is it? What caliber is it? Do we know?
It was a 380 high point.
All right. It's not a very high-end gun. We normally destroy them, but defense counsel, if you want this thing, instead of me destroying it with the understanding it will not be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends, I'll award it to you as additional attorney's fee. Otherwise, we'll destroy it. What do you want to do?
I'll take it, Judge.
All right.
And Judge, just for your information, Mr. Cortez has completed the concealed handgun license certification, and so he wanted me to tell you that.
I'm in the middle of a hearing. I'm going back.
Who teaches that course, Mr. Cortez? Do you know the name of the instructor?
I forgot her name. I think it was Janet. I think her name was Janet. I went to it was on 151 and 410. It's I think it's called Shoot Point Blank.
Okay. And you're the first person I've talked to who's actually gone to that course. What do you think it was worthwhile or not?
It was real good. I learned a lot. She talked about a lot of subjects about that you wouldn't even believe the outcomes on things that happen out there.
Did they tell you about the legal ways you can carry a gun in Texas?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Mr. Cortez, 649948. Court accepts no contest in the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $400 fine. That's court cost, 36 hours community service, APS, a firearm safety course, which you've already attended and you get proactive credit for. And in state's motion to destroy the weapon and respectfully denied, weapon is awarded to defense counsel as additional attorney's fees with the understanding it is not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friend. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Cortez?
Nothing
No,
further.
Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Sir, thank you.
Judge, did he get the information for the probation department?
Susan, can you hit him with your phone number again?
Yes, I gave that to everybody at the beginning and advised them to write down the phone number. So everybody write down this phone number. Mr. Cortez, 210-335-7446. If you do not hear from the probation department by Tuesday afternoon, then you need to call over there first thing on Wednesday morning.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Okay, now we're on cause 645-033, State of Texas versus Joaquin Fernandez. And Mr. Fernandez in cause 645-033 to the charge of evading arrest or detention. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Fernandez?
7 days in the Bexar County Jail, a $300 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent, TIC cause numbers 645032 and 645034, and we ask this be a JSAT, Judge.
It depends on your understanding of the agreement.
It is, Judge.
Mr. Fernandez, are we going to have any more problems, or is this about the end of it?
Unmute.
Good answer, sir. Okay, Mr. Fernandez in clause 645033. The court accepts your plea of no contest to evading arrest. I find you guilty. I said 7 days in the Bexar County Jail, a $300 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. Taking into consideration clause 645032 and 645034, they shall be dismissed. Judgment satisfied. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Fernandez in 645033?
No, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Fernandez. Thank you, Mr. Beck.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Okay, now on Mr. Henry, clause 634601 and 634602. We'll start with, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot to note it at the top that we also have a motion for the DWI case, the 634602.
Mr. Henry's case, which would be the 634602, correct?
Correct, Judge.
And is it not down on my cheat sheet you gave me?
I didn't note it at the very top like I normally do.
Let's start with that one. 634602, does the state have a motion?
Yes, Judge. The state moves to waive the enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
No objections, Judge.
So, state's motion to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement, no objection from the defense is granted. Therefore, Mr. Henry in clause 634602 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Henry in 634602?
6/12, a $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CATSNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and it'll run concurrent with 634601.
And the defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Henry in clause 634602, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, community alliance or traffic safety new intervention program, outpatient drug, Smart Start Mobile, home interlock at 4 blows a day for 6 months, which is 1/2 the term. And this case will run concurrent with 634601. Henry and 634602.
Nothing further from the state.
Okay. In clause 634601, Mr. Henry to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement in 634601 for Mr. Henry?
1/1, a $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, a gun safety course, motion to forfeit the weapon, and then it'll run concurrent with 634602.
Mr. Perez, what kind of weapon is it? I know it's a handgun.
It's a handgun, Sig Sawyer, 9mm, Judge.
What manufacturer, I'm sorry?
Sig?
Sig Sauer?
Sig Sauer, sorry, Judge.
All right. In lieu of,
Lockman.
that's a very expensive gun. In lieu of destroying it, would you accept it as additional attorney's fees with the understanding it will not be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friend?
As long as my client is fine with that, that's fine.
I'm sorry?
As long as my client is okay with it.
All right. Mr. Henry, you want to destroy your weapon or let your attorney have it?
Let my attorney have it, please.
Appreciate that. Okay, Mr. Henry in class 634601. Court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of unlawfully carrying a handgun. find you guilty. That says 1 year in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs. Let's see. 24 hours community service, firearm safety course. Motion to destroy the weapon is respectfully denied. Weapon is awarded to defense counsel with the permission of the defendant, not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends. And stand by a second. This case will run concurrent with 634-602. What did I miss, State?
You got it all, Judge.
Defense.
Good, Judge.
Okay, we're good. Good luck, Mr. Henry. Thank you, Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Judge. Maybe excused.
You are dismissed. Thanks. Okay, we heard from Mr. Maurer and Mr. Bowe.
I believe Mr. Maurer is on, and I believe his client is on if he is Galaxy S10 Plus.
That should be him. He said he was logged on.
Yeah.
You have my apologies, Judge. This has been all this crazy stuff with all this Zoom settings.
I understand. No problemo. You're here. And have we heard from Mr. Ruperto Garcia and Mr. Richardson? Are we ready to go forward on that one also?
We are, Your Honor, Roberto Garcia and Mr. Richardson.
Okay, I apologize. I missed some of that. You ready to go forward and what else?
On mine, Your Honor?
Yeah, Mr.
Ronald Richardson.
Right. Are y'all ready to proceed, correct?
We are, Your Honor.
And then Robert, is your client on? There he
should
is.
be, Judge.
Mr. Bowe, is
My
that
office talked to him. They had him logged on.
Mr. Bowe, is that you? Your microphone apparently is turned off, so we can't hear you. Mr. Bowe, can you hear me? We're having an audio problem, Robert.
Yeah.
It's been like my entire year of this Zoom stuff, Judge.
Mr. Bowe, you want to sign off and sign back on and see if maybe that fixes it? I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Judge, how come my clients never carry SIGs?
Yeah, I know.
Mine always have the Tauruses.
John Convery taught me a good lesson one day. He said, cocaine guys and marijuana guys have excellent guns.
Yep.
Methamphetamine guys have terrible guns and they're all missing parts and they're all rusty.
And missing teeth. And missing teeth.
Okay, let's see.
You can start on. As soon as he comes in, I'll let you know, Judge, that he's coming in.
We're going to wait a minute because I'm going to do both at the same time if we can.
Yeah, but I'll let you know as soon as I see him coming in.
And Robert, if we can't get his audio to work, would you try to call him on your cell phone, put it on speakerphone, and we've done some that way when we have.
Now I'm actually on my cell phone, but I can try that. Is that possible? I could walk back to my office and try it. Let's see if he can get on, Judge. If not, I'm right across. I'm in the courthouse right now, but I can actually run across to my office.
Robert, where are you at the courthouse?
I'm on the 3rd floor in the hallway.
Can you go down to 6 and
yes,
and see if you can? If Larry's there, my computer is open. He just needs to hit Zoom, and you all should be able to.
Larry's not there. He had to go to a funeral.
Oh no, Larry's not there.
Is my guy back on?
Not yet. Let's wait a minute.
Okay.
See if we can get back.
Not yet.
I'm so tired of all this crap.
Wouldn't you like to try a jury trial by Zoom? Wouldn't that be a nightmare?
There were some places talking about it. So I've got I was supposed to start a double ag robbery case on Tuesday that worked out, but Shaughnessy's case going in the 144th is a guy with 2 continuous sexual assaults of a child and an ag sex assault. And they're only bringing in a panel of 80. That panel is going to bust in about 30 minutes because nobody's going to want to be on that. So I don't know how all this stuff is going to work.
We're not Zooming. We're not going to live stuff until the Supreme Court of Texas says we can, and the current date is August 1.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm picking a jury on a murder case in the 187th on the 21st, but the guy's been in jail for 2.5 years. So I just want all the, I need to see if I can remember how to pick a jury.
It's like riding a bike, Robert. Come right back to you. No problem.
I wasn't very good at riding a bike.
What did Steve Barrera tell me once? Being a lawyer is like riding a bike, except but the bike's on fire and the world's on fire and everything's on fire.
Hey, Judge, I want to tell you a book you need to read. My neighbor who's a Navy SEAL told me about. It's called Fearless, about a guy named Adam Brown, who was the only SEAL who was ever granted a waiver to join the Navy, having been a meth addict.
Holy cow, that's very unusual.
And so my neighbor was telling me the story because my neighbor was in Dev Group, and so was Adam Brown. So to cut to the end of it, the guy got killed on a mission in Afghanistan, and the SEALs took his body back to their base in Afghanistan. And I guess Graves or whoever wanted to take it, and they wouldn't let him take it. In the book, they said they left him in his body bag, but my neighbor said what they did was they propped his body up by the fire and put a beer in his hand. And they all sat around with him drinking all night before they let the Graves Registry take him the next day. He was just considered he lost an eye in training. He was allowed to stay and he learned how to shoot left-handed. And then it broke his legs, came back again, and he went totally operational even after losing his eye.
He's on now. Let's see if this works. He's coming on.
Mr. Bowe, we got you. Can you hear us?
Please, God, please work.
Mr. Bowe, we see you with us, but we can't hear you yet. Oh, it tells us that your microphone is turned. Oop, you may have fixed it. Can you hear us now, sir?
Can you check the volume on your phone? Maybe that went down. Or maybe you're on mute on your phone.
Mr. Bowe, it shows you with us and it shows your microphone off, but we can't hear you. If you're trying to talk, we cannot hear you at this time. I guess we're just going to have to reset until we can get combo. I don't know what to tell you, but
Judge, can we do it on Wednesday? I have a relatively free Wednesday. I'm out Thursday and Friday of next week.
How are we going to do it that changes what we're doing now so that something will work?
Judge, I'm going to, because then I'll be in my office, and if I can't get him, I'll just call him on my phone and do it like he wanted to.
What have we got going? Let's see. Next week, Monday's a holiday. Now would be a really good time for somebody to come up with some innovative way to fix this. Can he come to your office? Or I don't know where Mr. Bowe is in relation to where you are, Robert.
Judge, I have no objection to that. If we can do it on
your house. I mean, if you were both on the same phone in the same picture,
I think my jury trial for Tuesday is going to plead out tomorrow.
Right here, right. Here's Mr. Bowe in relation to where you are. I know you're at the court.
I have no idea, Judge.
All right, do this. Keep your sign-in information available. Try to call him on his cell phone. You're gonna leave our meeting today and call him on his cell phone and see if y'all can get together in the next hour or something. We can still do this today. And if we can't, we'll just have to come up with a new plan. And then
okay, all right. I'm gonna go back to my office right now, Judge.
Okay.
I'll try it that way.
All right, you got my cell number. You can let me know what's going on.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right, thanks. All right, Mr. Richardson, I apologize for the delay. This is class 645-612, State of Texas versus Ronald J. Richardson II. And the first document I have for you, Mr. Richardson, is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Garcia, the attorney for Mr. Richardson, is this your signature on this document, sir?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Richardson, the next document I have for you is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonition, that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on the back of this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney. So in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Garcia, as attorney for Mr. Richardson, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
He is mentally competent, Your Honor.
And Mr. Richardson, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
And Mr. Garcia, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have, Your Honor.
And state, do you have a motion on this case, please?
Correct, Judge. The state moves to add a count 2 of obstruction, waive count 1, and proceed on count 2.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. So, Mr. Richardson, obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement from Mr. Richardson?
12
Yes, sir.
months deferred education, $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CAD SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
May I address that, Your Honor?
Sure.
Your Honor, I've been talking to Mr. Richardson on and off, and his fiancee, I thought it was his wife, along with actually the fiancee, they've had a child. And we were discussing some of the aspects of our agreement. Counsel has been very patient with us, going back and forth, trying to figure out what would work. And I don't want to change too much of a drastic thing, but there's a couple of categories here. The $850 non-probated fine, counsel allowed it to continue unless further time is allowed for the court, by the court. And we're asking for, he's finally started working, cutting hair, which is what he does. She's in the pharmaceutical industry. And so we're asking the court if we can give him time to pay some of that off. That would be one thing. The other thing, I sent out an email to counsel and Pat just a couple of days ago when he was telling me that his wife actually is the one who has the only vehicle in the family. She's working in the pharmaceutical industry, has to go in and out of there. And he's trying to see if the court will consider, instead of Smart Start Mobile, which counsel had told me, Ms. O'Connor had told me, the Smart Start Mobile being one of the favorite ones of the court. And I think they're pretty effective. The only problem is I'm trying not to affect his fiance and her work, and the fact that she's the one when it takes the child that they have together to daycare and everything. She's trying to avoid that. And if there's anything we can do with a handheld mobile device that'll still monitor whether he's drinking or not, he'll respond at work or anywhere he has to for the court to understand he's not drinking.
Okay, well, we can't use an interlock when you've only got one car in the family and someone other than the defendant's going to be driving it. That just not going to work. Because the other person would have to blow into the interlock and then we wouldn't know who's blowing in the interlock. So we're using Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day. So every 6 hours he blows in the machine. He has a 2-hour window to blow into the Smart Start Mobile. It's as easy going as any of those machines are. So that's what we're using. Would that work out for you guys?
I'm not sure if that works on it. He won't have the vehicle most of the time. She's the one who has the vehicle.
Need a vehicle. It's like this is a portable breath testing device the size of a cell phone.
Will that work for you, Richardson?
Blow into it every 6 hours.
In the car?
Not in the car. It's in your pocket.
Yes, sir. That's fine. Absolutely.
That's what he needs, John. Thank you.
That's what we're doing on that one. So we're good on that.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, guys?
The any delay the court will consider for the $850. He started working now after the virus kind of settled down a little bit.
You got a year to pay it. The probation's for a year. As long as he pays it in that year, everybody's happy.
For sure.
Except Susan. She may not be happy. Susan, are you happy?
Well, those payments are broken down on a monthly basis and you're expected to make monthly payments.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can pay with cash, cashier's check, money order, and as long as you don't have a theft case, you can pay with a credit or debit card.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're good. You got the phone number for probation if they don't call you timely. Is that correct, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir, I do.
That's all I got. You got anything else, Mr. Garcia?
No, thank you, Your Honor. It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Yeah, good to have all of you. And thank you, Ms. O'Connor. Really appreciate the work on this, and Pat.
No problem.
Any further questions, Mr. Richardson? Are you good?
Oh, sir, thank you so much.
I wish I had some hair that needed cutting. We would do some business.
Anytime, anytime.
You know, I was actually hoping you'd have a weapon so I could pick up another gun out of your court, Your Honor.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Judge, you haven't stated the agreement.
Thank you all. Thank you.
You're wait a minute. The court reporter is saying the
Judge,
judge.
you haven't stated the agreement.
Yeah, he hasn't done the last part.
I haven't said the agreement.
Nope.
Okay. Again, Mr. Richardson, the cause 645-612. The court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of obstruction of the highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation, assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, and the Smart Start mobile home interlock device at 4 blows a day for 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Richardson?
Nothing further from the state.
Good luck, Mr. Richardson. Thank you, Mr.
Nothing robust, Your Honor. Thank you.
Release.
Thank you.
Excuse, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Thank you.